Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to Be with Mike G, the show of life, the show of New York, the show of Converge, Jeff Buckley singing now again, the printing press, and so much more with today's guest, Mr. Matthew Korzelius of the Roosevelt Room. Recently competed in one of his first challenges, the Tio Pepe Sherry competition. It was a great experience for him. We talked about it a little bit off mic, but this is a good chat about everything that I love, things I hope that you guys love as well. Loss, building yourself up from nothing, struggling, music, being creative, and learning how analog things work, such as the printing press. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this great chat with Matthew Korzelius of the Roosevelt Room.
A lot of the heavy stuff I listen to, it mostly comes out of a love for technicality in music. So a band like Converge, a band like Every Time I Die speaks to me from that sense. Whereas the more straight ahead Hatebreed style hardcore doesn't talk to me as much. The brocore kind of thing doesn't often do it for me in the same way.
Oh, that's a good point.
I like guitar riffs. I like solos. I like technical drumming and whatnot.
How about Dillinger Escape Plan?
Dillinger Escape Plan is one of my all-time favorites. That's literally what I was listening to when I pulled up to the house.
See, I figured as much. Because you think about like technical proficiency, and those guys are masters.
It changed my whole brain.
Really?
When I first listened to Calculating Infinity,
I
didn't know like what's happening. And it opened up this whole new world of like music that you listen to for its replay value, where you learn something new about it every time you listen to it. It's the same kind of rap music that I listen to. It's the stuff that's super dense lyrically, where I can, if I can listen to a A$AP Rock record that I've had for 10 years and still find new lines that I like missed over time.
I love that about music. I love that about cocktails too. You know, we're drinking a scotch, right? Mm-hmm. So adding a little bit of water to the Springbank 12-year single cask Burgundy first use. I mean, whatever, dude. I mean, my mind's blown by that. But it changes as we change. Mm-hmm. It changes as time goes on. Do you think your taste in music kind of changes as well as you're getting older?
Absolutely. I mean, I still have my standbys.
What's the staple thing for you that's been with you all these years?
I mean, there's a couple. Tom Waits.
Oh yeah, well.
I've been a huge fan like my whole life.
Of course, we're drinking whiskey. We're gonna start. Having a gravelly voice here in a second.
And A$AP Rock is one of those guys. Every Time I Die, since I was, in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, they've been around such a long time.
They've been around a really long time.
Cave In. We're talking about Cave In.
Cave In.
How did you feel about the shift from Cave In being almost speed metal to actually prog metal?
I love that. I'm a huge fan. I've never been the old stuff is better guy.
Yeah.
That guy bothers me. That guy really annoys me because that's like it flies in the face of growth.
Yes, and change, evolution.
And sure, some bands grow up and end up not being as good as they used to. Right. It happens, but the just automatic knee-jerk like response to a band maybe not being as heavy or moving into different territory, that just automatically being bad to someone, that kills me. That's not my...
It is really a metaphor for how people are.
Mm-hmm.
They want everything to be great again, instead of trying to let it just evolve and grow with it.
Right.
And,
like Deftones.
Yes.
Are that band
great point.
That grew up with their audience.
Yeah.
And they grew up as opposed to, and then there's Korn.
Which kind of stay,
they're just a flat line.
Yeah.
The whole
they were good.
time.
I met those, real quick story about Korn.
Sure.
When I was living in Salt Lake City, young kid, I bugged the Sunday night show, which is always the new music show. I bugged the music director who was hosting that show like every week because he owed me a Bad Religion CD.
Mm-hmm.
So I called him and he never sent it to me. And I'm like, dude, what are you going to say? It's because Stranger Than Fiction ended up being a really influential record for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bug him all the time. I'm like, dude, where's my CD? Where's my CD? He's like, well, why don't you just basically, more or less, even though he's a Mormon dude, he's like, why don't you fucking come pick the CD up, right? So I'm young and I can't drive yet. My mom's got to take me down there. And so I go down there and I end up working for the radio station as
that's awesome.
as an assistant to the music director. So just point being that music changes so much, but you have to like be open to all of the stuff that it becomes.
Yeah, who wants to live the same day over and over again? Some people just do, and like you said, it speaks to the style of bartending that I am, that I am drawn to, which is that there's a new challenge every day, and it encourages growth as opposed to working a shot and beer kind of spot, which I love for what it is.
Right.
But I don't
That's
think I
Tom
could work
Petty
that
to me.
Yeah, for sure.
But then once you want to get into different kind of meters, different kinds of lyrical content, you got to branch out. You get into brandies, you get into scotches, you get into Armagnacs, which is a brandy. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
You think that you're man? All right. So I've not had the chance to talk about this one Mutoid Man song with anybody so far. This whole song about him fucking the devil's daughter. You know what song I'm talking
Which
about?
one is that? Which one is that on the record?
I spent a day with the devil. Boom, boom. And I look so disheveled. And he talks about like he was never harder after sleeping with the daughter of the devil. Dude, what world is he fucking writing from to talk about this shit?
Well, he's now embraced the like metal thing where it's like it's an attitude and it's a style of like over the top writing and whatnot, because with Caven was so deadly serious
absolutely
all the time,
and
then Mutoid Man comes out and it's just a different feel. It's so much more fun.
It's comedic almost.
You know, it's like comes from the Metalocalypse school of like comedy in metal and just being so over the top.
It's amazing,
and having fun
operatic and just like totally histrionic. Yes, but that's one of my favorite songs lyrically ever. As he talks about it being a disheveled, self-effacing young man that has a date with the devil's daughter. Brilliant fucking record. So we have to stand unified on this, and that Warmones is top 5 records of last year. Easily. Okay. Easily.
You know, I haven't gotten to ingest it as one piece
it's almost flawless, man.
When I only really discovered it accidentally. Yeah. Like, they were a band that was, like, Bleeder came out, and I'm like, this is cool. I like this. But I never really, like, sunk my teeth all the way into it. And I'm only now going backwards and getting and finding it. Kiss of Death on Warmones.
Oh, it's such a great
one of my favorites
song.
On there, man.
God damn, it's so good. Whatever, you know. Stephen Brodsky, I've had a crush on dude forever. He's a brilliant songwriter. But I find that a healthy, fortified background in music helps us taste. When you think about triads, I mean, the first time I met you were behind the bar at Roosevelt Room, and this is something I hope I don't talk about too much with people, but it's bass, mid, and treble. Perfect Cocktail's a daiquiri, right? Because it expresses all of those things. So for you, right, as you what does music inspire you as well to balance flavors? Thinking of it in that kind of way.
It's interesting. I guess I haven't thought of it that way.
Really?
I think of it, my connection music to the bar has more to do with the idea of how a band works.
Oh, no,
and in a
great.
Team situation. I haven't really connected music to a cocktail yet. And I love that. It makes perfect sense.
Because you think of Cream, right? Or Nirvana. Great.
Sure.
Great 3 pieces. And some of the greatest cocktails are just simply 3 ingredients. Base, mid, high. Acid, booze, bitter. Right?
I love that.
It's a way I look at everything. And I'm not trying to be prescriptive about how people, because everybody learns differently, right?
Sure.
But music is so it's a passionate place for people to create, you know, that I think that's a really nice template for cocktails.
100%. Yeah, I really like that, actually.
So there we go. We got to think about what you know, what's in bloom now. What is an in bloom cocktail? You know, not even on the spot, but I'm just saying, hypothetically.
No doubt.
I love thinking about it like that. Or what's a sunshine of your love cocktail? See, I like it because you're looking up this and I'm like, man, I don't know.
I'm like really trying to pull that down now.
Well, all right. So going backwards, this
Sure.
whole thing, we've got one real native Buffaloian. What's the right word?
Buffalonian.
Oh, good. I got it. I was pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
We got one big, notable, outspoken one here in Austin, Texas.
We do.
Mr. Travis
Tober.
fucking Tober.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking today that the way that people look up to rap stars for their opulence
Mm-hmm.
and their braggadassery, if that's the right word, or braggadocio kind of.
Braggadocio. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, please correct me.
Sure.
That's how people look up to Tober. These younger generations,
I
this dude fucking makes it happen, and he never is not wearing a hat. Short of jewelry, that's his accoutrement.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Did you have any run-ins or intersections with Tober in
Dude,
Buffalo?
I just met him. Met him a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's kindred, right?
What do you mean?
Being both from Buffalo, right?
Oh, for sure. Once we talked, I was like, by the way, like, I can't count anymore how many people have told me that we need to like have a sit down.
Yeah.
And it was great. We talked for a couple. He was behind the bar and they were pretty busy, but he carved out a couple minutes for me and we talked. He also did I met him briefly, but he was in a different sort of mind space when we did Miracle at the Eleanor, and he did
he was Santa,
our
wasn't
Santa
he?
that night. Yep. And we used I have a Crown Royal throne. It's
throne?
this big purple felt throne.
Oh my god.
That's branded Crown Royal, and we used that as the Santa chair and just covered it in like Christmas blankets so to obscure the branding.
Oh, it's amazing.
But
don't blacklight that thing. I have a feeling.
oh, it would light up your room for sure.
So that's it. But it's great that we now have two wonderful folks from Buffalo that, in my experience anyway, people from Buffalo are really down to earth, really communal. What was your upbringing like? I mean, people are really friendly there?
Yeah. They call it the city of good neighbors.
Yeah.
That's like one of our and every time there's a blizzard, which happens with
frequently,
great regularity, that's when it really comes out. Everyone's shoveling each other out and plowing each other's, driveway and whatnot. Just kind of, we're all in this together sort of.
That's good.
Feel in that city. Long-suffering Bills fan, and we're all in that together.
Oh man,
and,
Jim Kelly, I remember that.
Those are the days, man.
Who was the running back for Jim Kelly?
Thurman Thomas.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Those were the days I was watching football.
Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Andre Reed. It was a crazy, crazy team that can't be repeated again.
Yeah,
but never.
Special time in history.
It was, and I grew up in the most run of the mill, upper middle class.
Yeah.
Suburban. I lived about 15 minutes outside the city at a place called Grand Island.
Yeah.
It's right there in the Niagara River.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in a house for a couple of years where I could see Canada from my front window.
Oh, wow.
It was like right across the water.
Yeah.
If you looked off to the right, was the mist of Niagara Falls. Big cloud over that. You could see it.
Is it beautiful? It sounds beautiful.
It is, yeah. Grand Island is a very, very beautiful place. And it's just kind of it's literally an island. That you have to cross through to get to Niagara Falls.
I didn't know that.
You leave Buffalo, you go Grand Island, Niagara Falls.
Gotcha.
Quick little jump.
Man, how about this? Because you went to school for music, I think, yeah? Business, or rather?
Yes, I got my degree in music business at SUNY Fredonia.
Wait, so where does that come from, that love of music? Were your folks in music? Was it something
It's a crazy thing because my brother is a musician as well.
Younger or older?
Older,
yeah.
Like 2 years. And he's a kick-ass dueling piano player. He travels from Wilmington, North Carolina to National Harbor in Baltimore, or in Maryland.
Maryland, yeah.
3 weekends a month, stays there for 3 days, and then drives back.
Wow.
And works at this great wild piano bar out there.
Really?
Yeah, he's a kick-ass musician. So what's weird is we don't know why. Because definitely not my dad.
Yeah.
We think he's a
what is your dad
fan
do?
of music.
Yeah.
He showed me Chicago. He showed me Yes. And that's a lot of where my proggy
That's what my mom did the
come
same
from.
thing. Early Genesis with my mom.
That was not one of them.
Really?
I'm only recently really discovering early Genesis.
It's good, but yes, Fragile, one of the greatest records ever, right?
And it was funny though, because my dad, he showed me Yes,
mm-hmm.
and he couldn't hear. He doesn't hear the difference between, say, Roundabout and Owner of a Lonely Heart.
He doesn't hear the difference.
He doesn't hear the difference.
God
and I'll be
bless
like,
him.
Dad, how can you? Like, I love both of those
Sure,
songs
those are
for
great
different
songs.
reasons, but they're almost like they're different bands. Same thing with Chicago. You listen to like Introduction,
Right.
and then you listen to Look Away,
Yeah.
and you're like, how is this the same band?
Dude, well, technology changed, yes, profound, because there's Trevor Rabin playing guitar and then Steve Howe, right, on Friday. So like, you have to get really fucking prog nerdy, right? But
right.
I'm a guitar player. I think you play guitar as well. We kind of smidge. But yes, it changes so much. But there's the deepness, and I like that because your dad just likes it, right? He can't.
He just likes it. He likes Yes. He likes
amazing.
Chicago, and to him, they never really changed. He just always liked it. So it's funny. So he's just not hearing things like that.
Right.
Is my point.
But I like that he's just feeling it.
Yeah, and we think my mom has some latent musical ability that probably just didn't get nurtured
Right.
over the years.
What do they do for a living, your folks?
My mom raised the kids.
Yeah.
My dad is still, he's the president at a business called Buffalo News Press.
Yeah.
It's one of the last on paper printing presses of its kind.
Wow.
They've watched company fall after company and after company, and they're still standing out there in Buffalo.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How long has he been doing that?
He's been doing it most of his life.
That's
since
incredible.
he was in his 20s.
Was it something that he encouraged? Because sometimes dads are like, "Hey, you should probably come into this business. It's not so bad." Was he like that?
Not really. In fact, I worked for them for a little while, and then I had to get laid off because we lost a major account, and it was a dark time for the business. This was 15 years ago at least. And we lost a huge account. We had to let a bunch of people go, so I was like chopped. Like I had to, because otherwise the optics wouldn't have been quite right if the boss's son stuck around. So he really never. I think there just wasn't a place for me there, and I think he's afraid of its future.
Kind of looking out for you.
Ability to maintain.
Sure.
He's just trying to get to retirement.
Yeah.
And then
Easy
not
street.
have it shut down on his watch.
Right. Oh, that's admirable still.
Yeah.
It's very much an old industry, but there's still this deep respect for that ancient art in a way.
Yeah. It was really a wild learning experience. I worked in what was called pre-press.
Yeah.
Took these giant metal plates, and I had to burn negatives of the ads that we were doing.
That's amazing.
Using light. They're photosensitive plates, and you burn the images onto the plate, and then those plates go to press.
Dude, okay, so do you watch movies at all?
Yeah, sure.
So Oscar race is in full effect. The Academy Awards will be on here the first week of March. The Post, which is new Steven Spielberg movie, Meryl Streep.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
I saw a thing about that.
It was the first time I saw how a press works. And it's amazingly
It's
vivid.
pretty wild.
It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy because it's all the typeface that has to be in place.
Mhm.
That they must have letters to go, at 10 point letters, and then they put those in 20 point. I don't even know how the thing works, but I was like, this is complete analog. It is so beautiful, and we are so removed from being able to understand where that happened.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, and analogously, if you think about cocktails, for a long time we're in the same place there. It's like, just give me the thing that will get the job done. But now, a bit of a tangent, but people are more interested in where their shit comes from, aren't they?
For sure.
Yeah.
Because they know that it's all about a little bit of information.
Yeah.
Is dangerous,
Sure.
and get people going down a road. And once they realize there's more out there than your Jack and Coke, they want to see what else there is.
But I like that because
that's keeping me employed, man.
it's keeping people's minds open and their wallets open and their ability to try new things. What's strange is that you get the sentiment, at least in the current political climate. And yes, I'll jump over multiple topics as we talk. If you haven't kind of got that already, but politically, people seem very closed off. Me versus you, you versus me, right? So this is very polar. But in the cocktail realm, it's a nice, safe, quiet, communal spot where people are open to conversation. They're not firmly affixed to anything. When you say give someone maybe a brandy cocktail suggestion. People are more open to it, I imagine.
Yeah, 100%. And it helps that in most cocktail bars that we like to go to, there's not a TV in sight.
That's a great point.
Guiding the conversation a certain way. We're talking about what's here in front of us, what we're being served,
Tasting
what we're looking
feeling.
for, and we're doing it with each other. And there's nothing reminding us that we might have some beef with each other.
Man, one of Lydia's friends, my wife, previous husband anyway, redneck, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I've got no problem with it.
Sure.
And I always say, okay, maybe I'm this white liberal guy from Austin. So stereotype. But I'll buy a bottle of Jim Beam White and I'll put it on the table and we're going to drink that whole thing. In a way, that's the great equalizer.
It's the great equalizer.
It is, right?
You're speaking each other's language.
That's
at that
exactly
point.
right. It's like, and then if they're like, oh, I can't drink that. It's like, well, why? I thought that's what you represented. Right? Because it's being tough and shit kicking and
right.
So,
but I guess that's reductive on some level as well.
Sure. Maybe I'm being a little judgmental, but it's nice to say that booze is still one of the things that can bring us together, reaching across the aisles. All right, so I digress. You have pursued music, and what was the hope there? What was the ultimate aspiration? Were you trying to be on a label? Were you trying to be a songwriter?
Well, so before I got my degree in music business, I actually was a musical theater major at the University of Buffalo.
No way.
Different SUNY school. I did that for about a year and a half.
Do you dance well?
No, that was that
makes
a
two
tricky
of us.
A tricky part of my experience. So in high school, my senior year, so I was captain of the wrestling team.
Really?
But I was also in my senior year. I only went out for the musical once, and it was West Side Story.
Beautiful.
And I got the lead. And we were it was an all boys Christian school.
Yeah.
But because of we got lucky with a couple of our staff members, we ended up becoming a major, like we had to rent out a local university's theater to do our shows, and they would sell out every night. It would be packed, like hundreds and hundreds of people.
Wow.
And then girls from the local schools, any school, we did open auditions, and hundreds of girls were auditioning to be in our shows. So it was kind of like a big thing.
That is big.
And I played Tony my senior year in West Side Story. And it was like, well, I don't have any other plans. I guess maybe I'll do this.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And it didn't work,
Well, maybe not long term, but all right, I got to ask you the question. And I'll put this out here.
Sure.
As a guitar player playing in bands and we sold out shows and whatever, never got me laid. But I'm a reserved guy though.
Sure.
Playing Tony though, how did that work?
It was a funny, it was a wild little time in my life, man. But at the same time, I was wildly busy.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was also the captain of the wrestling team that year, and I didn't quit. I did both. I would run down the hallway from one rehearsal to practice and whatnot. It was a really intense time of my life.
When did you find out that you actually had pretty good pipes?
My whole life.
No kidding.
Me and my brother, we just really, the way we listened to music was so detail oriented, and we would sing along, or we sang in church from like when we were kids.
Sure.
And it just kind of was a supernatural. I can't remember a time when I wasn't singing in my life.
Anybody that's particular, give me two guys that you love to listen to and love to sing along with.
Jeff Buckley is my hero.
That's quite a challenge.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying
range.
In fact, I also have like a self-imposed rule not to ever cover Jeff Buckley.
Yes, I like that. That's thank you
just
for that.
Let it be.
Kind of perfected a lot of things.
Especially, I have covered Hallelujah, but who hasn't?
I've heard it in many different flavors, and I've liked most of them.
Sure,
as long as it wasn't on American Idol.
Yeah, right.
I actually saw
Overblown.
Yes, I did see a gentleman who I deeply admire, Mr. David Bazan, singer of Page of the Line, who actually is playing tomorrow night, reuniting after 12 years. Anyway, he finished a whole bottle of tequila, and still, from the heavens above, inspired by them saying Hallelujah in a lower octave, and it was just lovely. All right, so Jeff Buckley, who else do you got?
Man, Let me think. Vocally, who kills me? Oh, Neil Fallon from Clutch.
From Clutch? That's not easy to pull off. It's a little grunty.
Well, again, like, I don't know. So are you asking me who I try to emulate?
No,
okay.
emulate. Just people you would like, even though you would never sound
for Neil
like
Fallon's voice, man.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But that is not my voice. Yeah. Not even remotely.
Oh, man. It's like Chino. If I could scream like that.
Right? Well, he barely does it anymore. He can't. You can tell.
Got one vocal. Yeah, it's out. Brodsky still screams like a motherfucker, too.
Dude, listening to the Mutoid Man records, I'm like, where was this that whole time?
Right.
Like, he didn't sing like this before.
No.
He's just like older and more out there. It's wild.
Love it. Well, so you're inspired by singing. Were you also a songwriter as well?
I was in some, just low-level local bands. Yeah. I did some stuff. I actually, most of the last couple years I spent in Wilmington, I was in a wedding band. Okay. So I've done more covers than I've done original stuff.
Well, still, it's a great way to be able to get out there and
it was a lot of fun. It was half of my income too for a little while.
That's brilliant.
But most of my original material is actually rap.
No shit. A$AP Rock style? More organic, kind of like real lo-fi
I don't have the brain for A$AP Rock stuff.
No.
Like, no one does. He's in a whole other world. But I would say my rapping is closest to like LP from Run the Jewels. Like the Run the Jewels LP, not the early LP that was so heady and brainy.
Right.
I'm not quite that. I'm too deliberate with my words, and it would take me forever to write a 16 if I was trying to overthink it.
Sure. You know? That's amazing. So the piece of this, and I want to talk about love for a second, because there's obviously something that jettisons you into the cocktail world, and that could be that music is just something that you want to keep doing. You got to pay the bills during the day. There's all this stuff, right? But when did you meet your late wife?
She grew up in my neighborhood.
No way.
We grew up basically right down the street from each other. I knew her my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you guys friends before you were together?
2 years younger. Yeah. She was. And so there were run-ins, neighborhood run-ins, but we weren't close. 2 years is a lifetime when you're a kid.
But right now it's like...
And then once you hit like 20, it means very little.
Yeah, right.
But when you're a kid, 2 years is like, you're not...
I don't even want to like hang out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you just kind of don't... We knew each other.
Yeah.
Weren't close. We really didn't become close until college.
Was she going to the same school for...
No, in fact, she went to Albany.
Albany, oh.
And I was in...
How far is Albany from...
Albany is about a 5.5 hour drive.
Oh, shit, okay.
But we just went to a couple of the same parties during, like, vacations, and then just hit it off. And,
wow.
And, yeah.
Is it Kaylee or Callie?
Kaylee. Arde, yep.
And things just worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Was she a music fan as well?
She was a college girl listening to mostly whatever's on, She loved Dave Matthews Band.
Who doesn't? Come on.
She loves Tom Petty.
Yeah.
American Girl was like her favorite song ever.
It's such a quintessential song.
Yeah, for sure. And we had very different approaches to music, for sure.
Sure.
As I do with my girlfriend right now. Like, we just listen. We hear it differently, but that's fine.
How long, seemingly, it happened pretty quick? Do you guys get married pretty quickly? Or?
No, in fact, we were together for like almost 6 years before we got married.
Wow.
We moved to New York City together, lived there for about 4 years.
What were you doing there in New York
City? So I was partying, man. I was just living the life. I worked at a singing diner called Ellen's Stardust Diner in Times Square, right in the heart of the Broadway Theater District. It's a absolute tourist trap, and they employ mostly actors who are
leads from West Side Story in Buffalo.
Kind of. I was being no longer a theater person. I was kind of the minority of the type of people that they were hiring. Yeah. Mostly people who are between theater jobs, whether it's they're auditioning and whatnot. And they have a big sound system, cordless mics, and say they're 12 people on the floor.
Sure.
That's the set list, all 12 of us, and you'd be serving your table, but you would know I'm after Amanda, so I got to get in there. I got to be ready to grab the mic and sing Mac the Knife. Or
and
whatever.
Just all I can think of is that fucking diner from Pulp Fiction.
I mean, it's not
right, like
totally
Buddy
unlike
Holly
that.
and Marilyn Monroe and shit.
They actually, remember that show Glee?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
There was a season where they all worked there.
No way.
It was, they renamed it, but it was Ellen Stardust Diner.
Place. No shit.
They were wearing our uniform and all that, because that's who it was for.
Yeah.
Like, that's who that job was for.
Wow.
You know, people who were just got out of college, and now they're doing the Broadway thing.
Sure. Did you? How do you transition? I mean, there's two momentous things that seemingly happen around this time. So you with Kaylee 6 years, and you guys get married.
Mm-hmm.
And how long before you find out that she has brain cancer?
She had it almost our entire relationship.
No kidding. So you knew that from the beginning.
Yeah, I knew it. We found out while she was in Albany, and I was in Fredonia, and I got a phone call that she was training for a marathon.
Yeah.
She had just run 13 miles and then had a seizure.
Oh.
And then it was like phone tag about, okay, we're going to the hospital. Okay, now they don't know what it is. Oh, they found something. And then we just stayed together. It was always kind of a foregone conclusion that she would beat it.
Sure.
It always just felt that way.
Yeah.
Until the end, man. Until that last year.
Yeah.
But she she had it the whole time. She had it when we moved to New York, and
but you're thinking, why can't we?
she's
why
strong.
won't we
She's young.
Right.
She was still. It took a long time for it to kind of take her life from her, as in her ability
Physical,
to be normal, to live a normal existence. It wasn't easy, but we were able to live in New York without too muto trouble.
Yeah.
And she was a social worker in the Bronx, dude. Little,
are you kidding me?
blonde, going to these different houses and checking on these kids' living situation.
Oh.
It was wild what she did.
Right. Fearless.
During all this, fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
How long were you guys married before you understood that things were maybe not as optimistic?
Well, it had been a steady decline for about 6 years by the time we got married.
Yeah.
And it was, you're putting on the optimistic face, and it was trial after trial. It was treatment after treatment, just over and over and over again. And everything would work, and working usually meant no news.
Right.
But then it would get worse. And then she'd try something else, it would plateau, and then it would get worse. So we never had it. There was never a remission. There was never any
right.
any pullback from it. It just got worse steadily. So, I mean, it was a slow, the way I describe it, man, was like getting in a car wreck that took 7 years to happen.
Man.
Just the most slow motion car accident of all time.
Right.
That's kind of how it felt.
Inevitably waiting to get fucking wrecked.
Right.
Strange thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a punch in slow motion.
Yeah. And it would take one thing from her, it would take another, and it would take another, as though it was just kind of closing in on her.
Had you thought about having kids?
We actually had, yes. While we lived in New York, we had eggs fertilized and stored.
Wow.
Before she got into some more aggressive treatments.
Sure.
So that, because infertility is a huge
side effect, right?
Side effect.
Yeah.
And given what she ended up going through, all but guaranteed that it would have happened. So
absolutely,
we took that.
So, I mean, that's forethought that goes into that. Do you think about that still? The fact that, because in a way, it's a way to commemorate this person you deeply loved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to be frank. I don't want kids, so to me, it's not as symbolic. But if you guys did,
I'll be, and to be frank, I'm not a kid person.
Yeah.
And I think I was just trying to give her something.
Sure.
And I don't think I ever truly wanted children.
Right.
But she did. And it meant so much to her, and I wasn't going to take that from her.
No,
given what she was going, it was kind of like,
what do you want? Got it. Fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was still and it was always so far in the future. If we were to use that that option, that it was like, well, maybe I want him then. So I wasn't sure, and I was just like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm amenable until I'm not amenable.
Right.
That's how I look at it, right? I'm a nice guy until I'm not a nice guy.
I said, we got plenty of life to live up until that may happen, so we'll just live it and see where it goes.
So where were you at mentally when all of this thing happened, when she finally passed?
It was a very difficult time. We did hospice, in-home hospice. I was her primary caretaker for, like, she didn't need a caretaker until the last, like, year and a half that she did need me to be, like, driving her around and whatnot. And it was a very difficult time, for sure. The last, like, month and a half at home. We had moved back at this point to Grand Island.
Oh, okay.
Buffalo, New York, like outside of Buffalo. To her one of her family's house. We lived there alone. And we had been there for about 2 years before this happened, before it came to a head. And we, I was devastated, man. I was, there's a lot that goes into seeing someone who's who was so young and full of life and full of love, and then watch her not truly be herself by the end. Like, it was hard to find her in the last couple months.
Sure.
And so there's this almost like crazy sense of relief when it's over, that, like, she's not in pain anymore, and that this doesn't have to be happening to her. But I was just starved for community and love, because, like I said, she wasn't really there for a while.
Right, your counterpart.
And so I was in a very, very bad space for a little while.
When you're in that dark place, and we all deal with this stuff differently, man. Marital problems, self-deprecation, whatever it is. But for you, how are you dealing with it? Were you drinking more? Were you just getting...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was drinking until...
You couldn't feel anymore? Yeah.
Until the lights came on in the bar, and I fell into some self-destructive patterns, both substance-wise and emotionally as well.
Sure.
Put myself in some pretty compromised positions that I knew were destructive, and just to feel something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely. Yeah, it was a wild time. I was just kind of floating through space too, because up until that time, I worked in the service industry all that time.
Yeah.
But always in a very detached way, just to make money.
Right.
And I worked in the service industry essentially so we could pick up and go to, we spent 2 weeks in Alabama doing physical therapy. We spent a week in Houston doing a clinical trial. We were constantly New York City for this trial and that trial. We were constantly going all over the place. And that's why I worked in the service industry.
Sure, it's flexible.
It was flexible.
It's mobile.
That was it, man.
Yeah.
That was it. And then after that, I'm like, well, wow, I'm 20, I guess I was 28.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything. Like, I don't have I got a job.
Sure.
But I have no direction anymore, because that was my direction. That was my whole... That was what I was doing.
You had a duty, right? You had this responsibility.
Yeah.
So, the North Carolina piece, is that safe harbor for you? Is it a way to flee? What exactly was that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, while I was still in Buffalo, one thing that was saving me was a band that I was playing in with some friends. That was just like catharsis weekly.
You were playing guitar for Incubus, right?
It's funny though. My early vocals, Brandon Boyd, is what people were always like.
See, how did I know?
Are you trying to be Brandon Boyd? I'm not. All right, maybe a little bit.
I mean, you hardly ever wear a shirt as it is. Like, you just want to kind of have it open and the wind flowing through your hair and all that fucking shit. Yeah. Why does he never button up his shirt?
It's
really.
I mean, he's a beach guy, surf guy. It's like a thing, fair.
You're absolutely right. So the notion of North Carolina, though, it seems so dissimilar from New York. How does that actually come about?
I had so I had been cutting my teeth soon after, about 5 months after Kaylee passed.
Yeah.
There was a bar in Buffalo called Vera that I that I loved, and they were the first great cocktail bar in Buffalo. Now there's a bunch, but they started that charge.
Mm-hmm.
And as a regular, they approached me to maybe become a part of their team, and they wanted me to bar back and just kind of learn and see what was what.
Mm-hmm.
They came to me, and I took them up on it, and that's where I first cut my teeth in bartending. But I also put myself in a compromised emotional situation.
Because of the alcohol, or because
no, because of a person
girl
that is there. Without getting into
I
any
get it,
details, I
names.
love my time at Vera and
Sure.
my a very inspiring guy, Cam Rector, who owns that place, who is now like been sober for a year plus, still runs the bar.
Cool.
Proof that you can do that.
Sure, of course.
And so I love my time at Vera, but I was in a destructive
it's hard. I mean,
situation.
how do you fucking deal with that situation, dude?
So I was in a destructive situation, and I decided like I can't. I got to get out of Buffalo because right now I'm the guy. Everywhere I go, I'm the guy whose wife just died.
Right. Oh, that's
and
a great point.
And there were people I wanted to get away from.
Right.
So I just fled. My brother was in North Carolina.
Oh, good.
My mom was in Wilmington.
Did you folks separate then?
They sure did. Yeah, they did while we were in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Which was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Like, wait,
I can't imagine that fucking helps anything. It's like, well, hey, wait. No, I get one thing at a time. Do not put this on me too, man.
Yeah. It was strangely just it wasn't a crazy thing. It was just kind of, oh, okay, that's what it is now. I got it.
God damn.
So mom followed my brother out there.
Oh, cool.
Because once she separated from my dad, didn't really have a thing.
Yeah.
She had a new nephew out in North Carolina, so I had them. And
it's a good support system, right?
Great support system. My brother was so thrilled to have me out there. I'm close with him. My mom was too. She let me stay at her place for a couple months until I got my job situation locked up and my apartment locked up. And
yeah.
So that was it. It was
How was living in North Carolina?
Man, it was a mixed bag. I think there's a lot that I left behind in Buffalo that I miss and that I regret having lost.
Yeah.
Or left behind.
Sure.
But North Carolina, even in 3 years, almost more.
Wow.
Wilmington is a little town. It's still a dirty martini town.
Yeah.
It's old money, and but I got to work at a great restaurant and bar called Mana.
Mana, that's right. Yeah.
That allowed a lot of freedom for the bartenders to take the reins. And the food was great. It was just an excellent place, and it was 3 years between that and the bands and the music.
Yeah.
I got into the hip hop scene out there as well.
Cool.
And just made so many incredible friends. I just went back there like a week ago.
No shit.
And hugged about 600 people in 18 hours. It was
wow.
it was just it's a lot
Kissing babies and chicken
yeah,
heads.
it's so much love out there, man. And but it was just the market out there. It just isn't what I needed another.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you were in New York City.
step.
It's got to be slower. I'm not saying it's different, really.
Yeah, I mean, Wilmington's a small town.
Yeah.
It's small. It's a tourist town, too. It's right on the coast. Beach, surf. That's who's there.
So totally seasonal.
Very seasonal.
Yeah.
Big time.
Wow.
But that was the best situation I could have landed in.
A lot of open arms.
A lot of open arms. Yeah.
Well, then it begs the question, not that I ever need to explain why Austin's awesome, because I love it. Been here 18 years now.
Sure.
Why Austin?
Well, a couple things happened. A really incredible confluence of events. Me and Emma were talking about. Emma's my current girlfriend.
Yeah. From North Carolina?
She's from North Carolina.
Cool.
Yeah, Outer Banks area. She's great and patient and deals with my neuroses.
And you listening to neuroses.
Yeah.
Yay!
Nice. Boom.
Yes.
I love that. But she, we were talking. I said, I got to get out of here. I said, I need to do the next thing. I said, I'd love for you to come. I said, I can't force you, obviously, but
sure.
You're invited.
Yeah.
Like, please.
It'd be nice. Yeah.
And she was like, okay, but it has to be warm.
Okay, fair.
And I'm like, all right, fine. So it literally knocked off like 80% of my cities. I could have gone back to Buffalo.
That's
I could have
right.
gone to New York. I could have gone to Chicago.
Boston.
They're all gone.
Done. Out.
And it left a pretty small cross section. Austin was on the.
What else is on the list?
I maybe could have gotten her to do Portland.
Oh, it's a little cold though.
Yeah, but she was something about it. She seemed like
okay.
receptive to the idea. We were also talking about bigger cities in North Carolina.
Yeah,
like we talked about. Raleigh was on the list. They're coming up a little bit right now.
Yeah, I hear great things.
Yeah, for sure.
Charlottesville, that's a one too, right?
Charlottesville. I'm not really familiar with that town.
I hear. Well,
Charlotte.
Let's put it this way. Maybe think of Charlottesville is actually in Canada, but I keep hearing about the influx of jobs in North Carolina. So maybe that's a thing.
Yeah, it's Raleigh is growing.
Yeah.
So it's.
But you're like,
it was on the table, but I still wanted to get out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with ABC anymore. They have a really tightly.
right.
It took like 6 weeks and a ton of paperwork to get a case of Smith and Cross, and we had to buy a case.
Right.
Like it's just a pain. Everything is hard.
Yeah, it's really sometimes not important work.
Right.
It's not. Just give me a bottle of the thing, and then let's get this thing.
Exactly.
Let's make it easy to have commerce, right? But Austin makes the cut.
Mm-hmm.
She's okay. Yeah.
So where this came, where it really was solidified was I was still up in the air, and I scratched and clawed for 2 years over during my time in Wilmington to get to Bar 5 Day.
Ah, yes.
Having no resume, having no real resume to
Sure.
speak of, no press. I had to do it the hard way, and I was able to get in. I did Bar 5, and then I'm just kind of in this room filled with like industry giants.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, and I'm hearing where everyone's from because we had to do a stand-up. Hi, my name is this. I'm from here. I'm like, there's my Austin people. Okay.
Who
cool.
is it? Who is in there?
Alex.
Fucking Shoemaker.
Alex Shoemaker took 5 Day with me.
Oh, amazing.
And Mike Childress as well.
Yes, right.
And Justin and Dennis were facilitating. They were like working it.
Yep.
And so I had a conversation with Alex. I said, I'm thinking Austin. Like, what's happening out there, man? And he immediately was really receptive to it's like, there's some stuff going on at the Roosevelt. So like, keep me posted on that. Once I got word that I passed Bar 5, which was not a foregone conclusion, I hit him up again, and I was like, by the way, I passed, and I'm starting to think Austin, man. Like and for me, it's music, food, this place just has the things that I like, that I care about. So
there's some metal here.
There's some metal. It just has enough of what I care about to wind up here. So, talked to Alex, and he eventually I was gonna visit, and he's like, "Damn, the whole staff is going on a vacation to San Diego while you're gonna be here."
Oh no!
And I'm like, "Oh shoot, well that's terrible." And he goes, "But okay, since I know you're gonna be out here looking for jobs, we'll just offer you one now." And I'm like,
amazing.
Done. Moving on. Austin. Let's do it.
Wow, so, I didn't realize that was the connection.
That was it.
I'm sad he's gone. I'm sad he's in LA.
Yeah, we miss him, man.
I say gone like he's somehow passed, but no, I mean,
he
pursued a girl.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to shift. I always think it's wonderful to pursue love, and he's doing great out there.
I think
his body was
about 3 years at the Roosevelt. In the capacity that he was doing it.
Yeah.
Just think he was good.
Yeah, I mean, swimmer. He had shoulder issues and stuff, as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's so beautifully serendipitous. You guys met in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that's why I did it, man, and it paid off just like that.
That's amazing.
That's exactly why I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it opened up that door just like that.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So how long you been in Austin now?
About 9 months.
Amazing. So soon you'll have your year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
You've been at what I consider, I'm going to say it's my favorite cocktail place in Austin.
I appreciate that.
Because it's not pretentious, but it's adventurous as well. Right? So you can go in there. The problem is that if you're in this industry, you're going to get a good drink. And you're going to get a good experience.
Sure.
In a way, we're completely biased, and it's not subjective for us. But if I was nobody, and I am nobody, but if no one knew me there, I feel like it would be the same experience no matter who came in there. And that you would get just as an exciting and invigorating experience that somehow you're discovering the cocktails. Not that you from behind the bar are prescribing how it's going to be, but it's like, here's the thing, here's the puzzle. You go ahead and decode it how you want. That's what I love about Roosevelt Room.
And that's the idea.
Yeah.
Their approach to service, we had to read Danny Meyer's Setting the Table before we even, like, that was part of the entry.
Prerequisite reading.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I appreciate, and something that's actually taking up more of my brain space than I expected it to. Right now, more than creativity of cocktails or theory, right now it's the philosophy of service and of bartending. That's where my head is more often than not right now. It's because of this place.
That's a very Japanese thing to think about, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You get this single thing that you may feel is rudimentary, but you get it right and you do it thousands of times. That's really the romantic part. Sure. That's really the key to success, I think. In your time there, because Sharon's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Care's now there.
Care's there.
You've got Eric, right?
Eric Day. Yep. And Jay Davis. That's the core bartending staff at the moment. That's
amazing. Who's bar manager now?
Bar managers is Eric Day.
Oh, Eric is okay.
Yeah.
So you've got this dream team of folks that aren't maybe on the global map yet in terms of person, like Justin is.
Sure.
Right? Like he was on this fucking GQ cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dennis just looks like, what Jimmy Buffett looked like 30 years ago. I give him so much shit about it, but he's off getting married, right? Isn't he?
In a couple days.
Yeah, I regrettably couldn't make it, but yeah. So you got these two very different force de triomphe personalities. How influential is that for you to have Mr. Calm, collected, and slicked back hair, and then beach bum Dennis over there?
Well, I really went in blind. Yeah. Other than knowing, just like doing some research on who these guys were.
Yeah.
And it was pretty intimidating, honestly. But it's been a pretty wild learning experience.
Yeah.
Right down to the fact that they made me start bartending right-handed. Like,
you're lefty?
I'm a lefty.
No way.
And because of the way our bar is built,
sure.
It's built for right-handeds. And so part of my training was reconfiguring my hands, man.
Wow.
Pouring and jiggering in opposite hands that I'm used to has been...
That's some Larry Bird shit right there,
dude,
ambidextrous.
It was intense. And now I can't imagine pouring any other way.
Wow. I love it because they put you through the ringer, but you emerge the stronger.
10 weeks, and that was the expedited version of the training process.
Man.
Yeah, they fast-tracked me on purpose because they needed me on behind the bar.
Have you pursued music while you're in town?
Not even a little bit, unfortunately.
You miss it?
I miss it so much.
Yeah.
I miss rapping. I miss singing. It's killing me, but I literally don't have time.
Yeah.
Nor have I made those connections yet.
Sure,
I've made a million inroads in the bar world, and that's great.
Music, different
But
deal.
music is a whole other thing, and I haven't found a way to do it yet.
You will. I'll make sure to get some intros for you.
I think
that's my world.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think that's true. I got lucky in Wilmington. Someone found me and then put me in front of crowds.
Yeah.
Like, that was just a weird situation out there.
It wasn't a fat guy that set up Backstreet Boys, was it? that Ron Perlman guy?
No, unfortunately, I'm not a millionaire with a cocaine habit. But
well, that's too bad. Either am I. We got to find those guys and hang out with those guys every now and again.
It's true. But yeah,
soon, right? Soon. I'm sure you'll fall into those circles. So
I mean, I don't last too long without doing something. Something's got to give.
It took 7 years, but I made another record. I'm like, I got to do this.
That's
thing.
Awesome.
Life changes, we change, love changes, and obviously, at some point, our priorities change. And that's okay because we're getting older. Wiser though as well.
It's the idea.
Yeah.
At least
we strive for it.
We're trying.
So I had 2 questions left
for
you. I am so glad to be sipping this Springbank with you because I think after this sip, I'm putting it up and I'm not going to sip it for a while. 252 bottles out of a single cask that came to Texas. That's it. Fuck. What are we going to do, right? But brilliant sipping this with you at 57.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So let's say you're sipping whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
One of your favorite spirits or your singular favorite spirit. You're at any bar in the world, but you can have a conversation and a drink with anybody, living or deceased. Who would you love just to have that moment with someone to sit there and sit?
It's Tom Waits.
You think he'd drink you under the table?
I think he's been sober for a long time.
Oh, good. So you got a chance.
It depends on what year.
Yes.
You know, if it's like Nighthawks at the diner, Tom Waits, I don't stand a chance.
Oh, man.
But I think I'd crush him now.
Yes, that's fair. You know, brief tangent, but Quincy Jones had this interview. The two of them, amazingly revealing interviews this past week. But he said that Frank and there was one other person that he would drink with. Ray Charles. 7 Jack doubles in an hour. Now that I know what that's the pace car, I'm not sure I could hang out with classic singers. Dude, I'm serious. Could you do that?
It's almost like, when you hear stories like that, like Keith Richards stories and stuff like that. Right. It's almost like, how they also say back in the day, weed just wasn't what it is now.
Right.
And so they were smoking all the time, but it wasn't this like crazy, engineered stuff. It's almost as though like Jack Daniels was like that too.
It's crazy
because you can't wrap your head around how some of these guys are alive to this day. How they how they made it as long as they did, at least
14 ounces. Let's call it 15 ounces in an hour.
A pint of whiskey an hour.
I mean, Godspeed. I fucking respect it, but maybe it is a tall tale because there's
it's an awful lot.
I've seen the best go down. The guys that are big, and burly, and can drink like no one else. Jimmy Russell, I've never seen him go down. But beyond that, I just don't know how it's possible. But I love that there is this mythology to it.
We need our mythology.
We need another hero.
We need it.
I love it. I really do. All right. So last question. You've traversed many different industries, but in many different roles in the hospitality industry. You've got the music piece, this creative spark that runs through you. What is something that you consider maybe an ultimate goal, something that is a big achievement that you really are aiming for, but you haven't yet done?
It's funny. I almost haven't even been doing this long enough to have that fully nailed down for myself.
Yeah.
I'm not a money guy. I don't live lavishly. Not that I could. I'm a bartender, but all my money goes to food and drink.
Yeah.
For the most part,
Best way.
Yeah. So it would basically be to continue working in this industry in a way that I don't feel like my body is breaking down anymore. Man, if I could be, opening cocktail programs, that kind of thing, and work twice a week, like bartend twice a week or something like that. That's my at the moment, that's my that's my 10-year plan. That's where I would love to be in 10 years. Just do a couple shifts, but not these
not these epic
marathon shifts. I've worked. I did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and put in 46 hours in those 3 days.
Oh man, it's crazy.
And it's a lot.
The older you get, it's even longer, man.
And I work out. Like people go, I bet this job keeps you in really good shape. I said, I have to stay in good shape so I can do this job.
Oh, that's a great point.
I have to work out literally so I can do this.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Sure. Wow. It's a challenge. We get older, but if we acknowledge our age as we get older, then we succumb to it. But if we refuse to accept that our body could deteriorate and try to strengthen it, then you can beat it. Right. That's my whole thing. 2 days, man. Seriously. In the morning and then afternoon. I feel very blessed that I don't have to sit behind the bar all the time. Because you get to sit there and work out and really build up so you don't crumble.
And I love it. I love bartending.
Yeah.
But I'm pragmatic and enough of a realist to know how much longer can I keep this pace.
Sure.
You know,
Writing is always on the wall, but
Yeah.
depending how close it is, that's the question, really. So, man, well, it's been I feel really privileged to like understand your story and where you've come from, and I'm so glad that I found. To give myself a pat on the back, which I seldom do. Yeah, seldom do. But no, man, I love that you listened to the show and that you knew about this, and so glad you stopped by. It's
man,
man.
I've been looking forward to this since you asked. I was surprised and delighted that you did, and
Super stoked.
really glad to have had the opportunity.
Matthew, it's been a really pleasure, man. We'll drink some more whiskey, but thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, there we have it. What do you guys think? Mr. Matthew Korzelius of the Roosevelt Room here in Austin, Texas. A great guy, music fan and art fan. I cannot wait to see the kinds of concoctions he comes up with here as his career expands in Austin, Texas. I think he's going to be a cocktail mastermind in no time. And hopefully he and I will go see Mutoid Man at the Sidewinder on May 9th here in Austin, Texas. Some great metal Converge/Caven side project. It's really worth checking out if you have not. And, enjoy some Tio Pepe Sherry perhaps before you head out to the show. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter how much prep you think you need to do to interview the global ambassador for Net Bronco, or if you're thinking, man, I don't know how I'm going to get enough sleep tonight, please keep dancing.